Hey everyone, it's Ruben, your favorite lymphoma survivor. I just got back to Richmond. I spent the afternoon in Virginia Beach visiting my children, my son and my daughter. Went and had some quality family time and had burgers and drove go-karts, and it was pretty fun. Haven't done that in a while. Haven't been strong enough to do that in a while. Now, if you've ever heard the term chemo brain and you weren't sure what that was, this is a video for you. So, chemo brain generally refers to a state of confusion that the cancer patient experiences during treatment. Now, there were times where I experienced both minor and severe chemo brain symptoms. Now, when I first started treatment, there was no chemo brain. There were no symptoms. But as I got further into the treatment, uh, dose 4, 5, and 6, it became more frequent and the severity increased, which makes sense since you're full of the different chemo drugs. Uh, Now, the early onset, the minor symptoms of chemo brain, is just like a general confusion. So I would forget my wife's name, uh, or you just kind of blank out randomly. So my brother gave me a copy of David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. And I told myself I would read it from cover to cover during treatment. So it took me several weeks, but I did read the book cover to cover. But while I was reading it, I would read a few pages and I wouldn't understand or comprehend what I just read. So I would go back and read it again. So I probably read the book 2 or 3 times in total for me to get to the actual cover to cover from beginning to end. A lot of times I would read some of the book and then I would drop the book and fall asleep. And then the next day I would pick it back up and I had lost my place. So I would just pick up where I thought I might have ended the book and then continue on. Uh, so those are basically harmless symptoms. I didn't find that scary. Now, there was one instance I experienced severe chemo brain, and that actually was scary. I picked up my wife from work. This is back in, I believe it was February or March. And I picked up my wife from work on a Wednesday afternoon, and she wanted to go to Trader Joe's, which is a local grocery store that's 3 miles from my house. Now, at this time, I was too weak to go into Trader Joe's, but I was strong enough to drive to Trader Joe's. So I picked up my wife from work because she doesn't drive, and we went to Trader Joe's, and I'm sitting in the parking lot 10, 15 minutes. I didn't feel great. I felt pretty lousy, as I did pretty much every day during treatment. So she came out, got back in the car, and we left Trader Joe's to go home. And it's a straight shot down Pump Road to get from Trader Joe's to my house. And it's 3 miles. It is not a long trip. About halfway home from Trader Joe's, I completely blank. My mind freezes. I look at Sheena and I say, "Where are we? I'm lost." I had no recollection of what we were doing, and it was scary. Somehow, we managed to get home without any incidents. Thank God we were close to the house. Got home safely, and I parked the car in the driveway. And Sheena goes inside with the groceries, and for half an hour, I sat in the car. I had no idea what was happening. I just sat in the car. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what we were doing. I just sat in the car. Eventually, she comes back out, opens the door, and says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I don't know." And when I tell the story, it actually sounds kind of crazy that you could just basically have your brain go blank. But this is a true story. So she convinces me to come in the house. I sit down on the couch, and I don't remember anything else that happened at that point. And this was probably about 7 o'clock on a Wednesday night. This is when my severe chemo brain symptoms kicked in. Now, I was taking prednisone at this time, which is an oral steroid. Prednisone was one of the only things that made me feel kind of normal during treatment. Also, it stimulated my hunger. I was always hungry on prednisone, which is important because I was not eating but probably 1,000 calories a day, and that's why I lost 50 pounds. So the prednisone stimulated my appetite, but unfortunately the side effects, other than make me feel slightly better, was that they pushed fluid into my legs, into my feet, my ankles. So it actually caused me lymphedema. So I couldn't take the prednisone more than a couple days in a row before I would start to experience minor symptoms of lymphedema. And if I took it for several weeks, it would accelerate the lymphedema and fluid collection in my lower torso. So this particular Wednesday night, after we got home from Trader Joe's, I'm sitting on the couch and my mind completely wipes clean. I don't remember anything until around 11 a.m. the next day. So I wake up, I come to around 11 a.m. the next day, the TV's on, Sheena's at work, and I'm on the couch. And I have no idea how I got there or what we were doing, and I was really confused. Now, when I came to, I wasn't in pain, which was good because I was in pain pretty much every day during treatment. So I wasn't in pain for that 24 hours or so that my severe chemo brain had kicked in. So apparently the night before, after we got home from Trader Joe's, we sat in the couch and I just asked Sheena how she was doing and if I was okay, over and over again. So every 5 minutes I looked at her and I asked if she was okay, and I asked her what was going on. And she would tell me, and then I would ask her again. But I don't have any recollection of this. So that Thursday, she was at work, and it was during the afternoon. I was at home on the couch. I wasn't hungry. I wasn't thirsty. She had left out food and water for me to intake, but I wasn't interested. I just kind of laid on the couch. But I do remember at this point being scared because I wondered if my mind would ever come back to being, quote, normal. So Sheena, while she was at work, she called the clinic, talked to one of the cancer nurses, and asked if I need to come in to see the doctor. And the nurse said not to go to the hospital, not to go to the clinic, because there was nothing they can do. I just had to ride it out, and that make sure I had access to food and water, which she did. But again, I wasn't really cognitively with it, so I didn't want to eat or drink. So the minor things like forgetting people's names or having to read a book over and over again to understand what's happening in the book, that's not to me such a big deal, but it was really scary coming to on the couch and not knowing where I was and what was going on. That was one of the more scary times during treatment. I imagine it's probably similar to what an Alzheimer's patient feels or experiences, but again, not being a physician, of course I don't have any proof, but that was one of the scarier moments during treatment, was not having my mind right. All right, if you have questions or comments, go ahead and leave them below, and I'll do my best to get to everyone. All right, and remember, if you feel bad or something's not right, go to the doctor. That way you don't have to go through what I went through. All right, later.